The concept of diversity takes various forms and is incorporated into many aspects of our life. We have differences in gender, culture, religion, family structure, physical or intellectual abilities, and many more. And we don't consider these differences as problems, do we? Rather, we celebrate them. Neurodiversity or the difference in brain functioning can also be considered and celebrated as one of them. Ms. Judy Singer, an Australian social scientist, used this term in the late 90s, and now neurodiversity has become a movement in different parts of the world. Neurodiversity is a term that applies to all those with neurological differences, including those with dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD, autistic spectrum, or indeed those who have a number of overlapping or co-occurring differences. It is being used more commonly to nurture the idea that these differences are a valuable variation and an important part of human diversity. It recognizes that everyone with a neurological difference is an individual and not part of a labeled group who will all behave, react, or learn in the same way. And it focuses on celebrating what people with additional needs can do rather than what they struggle with. It's a vast subject to study, and we can divide this subject into 3 levels. The bottom one is the core skill. It covers the basic awareness about neurodiversity. It is basically for all teachers, aspiring teachers, parents, therapists, members of the school and college communities, family members, almost everybody. The next level is advanced or enhanced skills. It is particularly beneficial for early years practitioners, class and subject teachers, lecturers, therapists who work directly with neurodivergent children and young people. And the top one is specialist skills. It is in-depth training about a particular type of neurodiversity for professionals who will be advising and supporting those with enhanced level skills and knowledge. In this video, we will talk about core skills and briefly discuss autism spectrum conditions, ADHD, dyslexia, and related neurological differences. We refer to them as dysconstellation. We might use terminologies like neurotypical, neurodivergent, and neurodiverse throughout this module. Let us just take a look at what these terminologies mean. Neurotypical is a newer term that used to describe individuals of typical developmental, intellectual, and cognitive abilities. A neurodivergent person is defined as one whose neurological development and state are atypical, usually viewed as abnormal or extreme. The term was coined in the neurodiversity movement as an opposite of neurotypical. Previously, the term neurodiverse was sometimes applied to individuals for this purpose, but the word neurodiverse now refers to a group of people where some of the members of that group are neurodivergent. Now, let's talk about autism and why it is a part of neurodiversity. Autism refers to a broad range of conditions characterized by challenges with social skills, repetitive behavior, speech, and non-verbal communication. Autism goes hand in hand with heightened sensory sensitivity. Sensory means related to our sense organs. Sensory stimuli that neurotypical or non-autistic people might be absolutely comfortable with or even ignorant of, like a faint smell of perfume, a slightly flickering light, the low buzzing sound that a refrigerator makes might be experienced by people on the autism spectrum as unbearable, blinding, or too loud. Also, the inability to rapidly process multiple information results in delayed processing. So the brain can become overloaded very easily to the extent it can stop working for the time being. Sadly, in many cases, autistic persons can't say out loud how they feel. So even though they're not okay inside, they seem okay on the outside, unable to ask for help. So they develop behaviors, some odd behaviors that help them cope with these intense feelings. These actions may seem unusual, but they are just their ways to feel calm. It means they are having a hard time. The kind thing to do is not to give them an even harder time by scolding them, ignoring them, or mocking them. The spatial wiring inside an autistic brain can sometimes make the person good at tasks we may find difficult, such as mathematics, drawing, or music. It can also do the opposite. And activities we find too easy can be incredibly difficult for them, such as making friends. Remember, if a particular company's mobile phone charger doesn't fit into another company's phone, that doesn't mean it's broken. Similarly, people with autism are not ill or broken. They simply have a unique view of the world. So by now, we have understood that our brains can perceive the world in different ways. One of those ways is called dyslexia, which affects how the brain handles information, sees, and hears. Dyslexic people may find it difficult to match letters to sounds and to remember how to spell them. They may even see letters moving around when they are reading. They might have trouble telling left from right. Remembering lots of instructions can be especially hard for them. They may need more thinking time to remember, and they may need more time to memorize sequences as well. Dyslexia might have some associated challenges. We call them dysconstellation. They can be named dysgraphia, that is difficulties with writing, dyscalculia, difficulties with numbers and mathematical symbols, dyspraxia, difficulties in activities requiring coordination and movement, and so on. A person with dyslexia may be very good at seeing patterns and solving problems, imagining and rotating objects in their hands, telling stories, making people laugh, taking things apart, understanding how they work and figuring out how to put them together. They can do a lot of things like inventing, drawing, painting, making things, seeing the bigger picture. They just might do them in a different way to how others would. And many of them have even become famous for it. We will discuss dyslexia and dysconstellation in detail with the progress of this course. Now let's find a little bit about attention deficit hyperactivity disorders, or ADHD. It is again a neurodevelopmental condition. A person with ADHD has differences in brain development and brain activity that affect attention, the ability to sit still, and self-control. ADHD can affect a child at school, at home, and in friendships. So, what have we learned so far? We learned that neurodiversity is a concept that regards individuals with differences in brain function and behavioral traits as part of normal variation in the human population. The movement of neurodiversity is about uncovering the strengths of neurodiverse people and utilizing their talents to increase the innovation and productivity of society as a whole.